is this a direct result of the anticipated funds that are coming in from the Genting folks and the VLT construction and Aqueduct, or if not, when will we begin to see those purses affected?
I think this was a way to jumpstart the racing program for the 2-year-olds, and you know the 2-year-olds soon become the 3-year-olds. So, you know, we like to think in many ways the Triple Crown starts at NYRA and it starts with 2-year-olds. We are not getting any purse money, obviously, from the VLTs until they start operating, which looks to be sometime perhaps in early September. Genting hasn't really formally announced when they expect it. But they've got 1,000 people a day over there working now. They're working 2 and 3 shifts a day. So we will get from September till the end of the year, we'll get about $10 million in purses. I think we'll probably look at Saratoga and Belmont to have roughly the same level of purses, and we'll start the purse increases probably the first of the year, or maybe even in November or December with Aqueduct.
Just a couple more.
Sure.
Just a couple more quick ones. You talked earlier about the success of the Keeneland meet, for instance, and a couple others around the country. And one of the initiatives, you know, they've instituted, you know, are fractional wagers. And other than the dime super, NYRA hadn't in the past necessarily, you know, they've kept the pick 4 minimum at $1 until now, where you've reduced that wager to 50 cents. Is this the beginning of a trend, seeing what some of these fractional wagers are, you know, the success they're having around the country? Can we expect to see more of this?
Yeah, I think, you know, we were, to be honest, one of the last people to go to the 10-cent supers. I think that you know, was really done because of the demand of our customers.
And just to be clear, this isn't. You need approval from the state wagering board for this. This isn't something.
Right. Yeah. Well, they've been pretty good about it, but you know the general fan is very much in favor of the fractional wagering, as you know. Some of our bigger bettors didn't like the 10-cent supers because they felt it allowed more people into the pool more readily. And to be honest with you, when we instituted 10-cent supers, although it was very popular and people liked it, our handle didn't really increase in the superfectas. So we've been, you know, slower to go to the fractional wagering. We've allowed fractional wagering from other tracks for us to bet, and as you point out, we decided in looking at, you know, some of the stats from around the country that actually there probably was a lift in handle going to 50-cent pick 4s. So we're going to do that. People have asked about a pick 5, which was very successful in a number of tracks, including most particularly, I guess, Gulfstream. The problem there is that our pick 6 is a very good bet, and it carries over on a fairly regular basis. And you know, the pick 6, as a regular pick 6, had never been very popular at Gulfstream. They did the new pick 6 this year, which we weren't a big fan of. But yeah, I would think that we'll be doing more fractional wagering. I think that our fans will very much like the 50-cent pick 4s, which we just started yesterday. So, you know, we try and listen to the customers, and we also have to protect our wagering menu at the same time.
It speaks to, you know, the circuit, as you say, with, you know, really only this one, and California can sustain that $2 pick 6, you know, and speaks to the product and speaks to, you know, the market, of course. Just two quick questions to close here. First, if you could, a word on Tom Durkin, who's going to be, he's staying, of course, with NYRA, thankfully, but, you know, his career, folks have been kind of taking stock of his career this week, as, of course, it was announced that he'd be stepping down from the Triple Crown races on NBC. If you could just give us a thought on his time with NYRA as one of the premier race callers in the business.
Yeah, Tom is the best. There's just no question about that. And as you know, he takes off a little bit of time here. He usually stops in December and comes back in late March, early April. And he is so serious about what he does. He's so good at what he does. He's a very cultured man, very well spoken, and so that ability to use language, you know, works its way into his race calling. You know, Tom called me about 3 or 4 weeks ago and said, "Look, I'm just going to give you a heads up. I'm not going to continue to pursue the Triple Crown, which was, you know, some decent money for Tom, to be very honest. And he said, look, it just really wears on me. And I think none of us understood the level of that until we picked up the New York Times, you know, within this past week and saw Joe Drape's column, and where Tom's talking about, you know, the concerns he has, the preparation that he does, you know, the impact it has on his life leading up to those big races. So when he talked to me about it, look, I fully understood it, and you know, we've got him locked up. I think the contract runs to 2015, and we hope that there's a renewal coming after that. So you know, good for him to, I think, decide that quality of life maybe at some point in your life is a little bit better than the money and glamour that comes with you know, with calling the Triple Crown. And you know, we wish Larry Comas well. Larry called a couple of winters here before he went down to do Gulfstream. So people are going to miss Tom and the Triple Crown, I'm sure. But tune in at Saratoga and Belmont, and you'll be able to see him every day.
He'll be, thankfully, and yes, just a great part of the NYRA family. And finally, to close, the state of the New York Racing Association right now is?
I think it's, I've been here since November of 2004. There's been more optimism today than both amongst our management, our employees, our horsemen. You know, we've been through deferred prosecution, bankruptcy, franchise war, delay in the VLT operator getting set. But we're now looking at, you know, the VLT is getting going. On a conservative basis, that's $30 million more a year in purses, which is about a 30% increase in the $102 million that we paid last year. You know, we're the only racing association right now that can still sustain 6 days a week racing, which we do at Saratoga. We average about $13 million a day in handle. The New York bred program, which I think is the best state bred program in the country, because they allow you to use non-New York sires as well as New York-based sires. That's back on the rise. The full crop had been declining. So I think that if you're a racing fan, if you're an owner, if you're a jock, a trainer, you know, you've got to be looking at the prospects for the New York Racing Association and saying, you know, we want to participate because we think it's already one of the best in the country, and we think it's only going to get better.
Promising indeed. Charles Hayward, President and CEO of NYRA, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it, and best of luck for what should be a fabulous 2011 Belmont.
Well, Joe, thanks a lot, and let's just hope this good weather holds up.